Israel Adesanya is once again the middleweight champion of the world. He gets it done against Alex Pereira by second round knockout. That sentence is insane. That sentence is insane. Considering Israel's public perception over the last couple of years of being a boring fighter. He's every fight is a snooze fest. He's a point fighter. He runs from his opponents, which I've always objected every single time I've heard it. Because I'll go into that later. But let's just start off with what happened last night. Israel Adesanya got it done. Going into the fight, I had two things that I was going to analyze as I was watching it. Of course, I wanted to try and enjoy it, but now that I'm watching with more of a purpose to inform you guys, I wanted to, have things to analyze when I brought it to you. So one of them was, how could Izzy handle the leg kicks? Izzy said that a big part of the first fight in MMA was that the leg kicks immobilized him. He couldn't really move the way he wanted to, and he couldn't evade the way he wanted to. So could Izzy check and or evade the leg kicks in order to keep his mobility? Because as we all know, if you watch Izzy fight, a lot of his setups when it comes to throwing are set up with high level footwork, L steps, backward movement, lateral movement, just really mixing in as much movement as he possibly can. You never know when he's going to throw because he can throw from so many angles and crazy distances, and footwork is a big part of it. But if you're consistently getting chopped down at the legs, you can't do that. So we had to see how he was going to manage the leg kicks, and we also had to see, which it sounds cliche, but what his mindset was like. If you get knocked out like that, as well as, everybody's talking about the first two fights, it's 3-0, 3-0. If you are consistently beating a guy and he always finds a way to come back and stop it, that has to mess with your mind. It just does. So I'm sure, and Izzy might be the first to tell you, that messed with him. I'm sure he's overcome it, especially with what happened last night. But I don't think he would be ashamed to tell you that bothered him mentally. I'm super, super excited to see what happens next. But those are the two things that I analyzed. And from looking at the fight, Izzy did a fantastic job dealing with the leg kicks. Now, with a guy of Alex's caliber, you're not going to deal with all of them. But especially in the first round, he was able to with a guy like Alex's power, when you check something, it's still going to hurt you just because of how massive and dense he is. If you let him kick you, it's going to hurt, period, even if you do check it. But he was doing a great job of sliding just out of range. Kick was whiffing by. When he did get caught, it wasn't that bad with the leg kick. And considering how long the fight lasted, he would have been fine either way. But we didn't know that. Going round by round, you're thinking, or at least I was, that this is going to be a 5-round war like the last one. So he was doing a good job of conserving the legs. I don't know how long he could have kept that up, but he did a good job of that. And also, mentality-wise, there were several times in the fight, especially the first round, where Izzy just decided, I'm going to stand in the pocket with you. I'm not afraid of you. I know you can hit. You've hit me before, but I'm going to stand in the pocket with you. And I think that means a lot, because a lot of the people that we've seen Alex fight, which isn't that many because of his short MMA record, but they understand the power and they're afraid of Poatan, stone hands. They don't want to get hit with that left hand. They know that it's a bomb and it will send you out. But Izzy's been hit by it before. It didn't end well, but he's been hit by it before. And I think people questioned Izzy's chin after that. And I did, because I didn't know how well it would hold up. But he got caught clean a few times, and he still decided to stay in the pocket. And I think mentally, that did a lot for Izzy's confidence to be able to say, I can take his best shot repeatedly and still be here and still impose my kind of a fight. To circle back around to the perception of Izzy's fighting style being scared and he's a point fighter, he's not exciting, y'all must not remember his climb to the championship. He's always been an elite counter striker, but when he needed to press forward, he was going to press forward. That's his fighting style. The thing was, people were, at that time, they didn't know of him that well, so they weren't afraid to engage with him. And when you engage with an elite counter striker, bad things happen. A la Kelvin Gastelum, a la the first Robert Whittaker fight. Once he becomes champion and all eyes are on him and people study him, there are so many weapons that you have to stay away from. You tend not to engage, or at least that's what I was noticing. So if you have an elite counter striker that people aren't engaging with because they don't want to get counter-struck, you're going to get boring fights, or at least what people consider boring fights. It's a chess match. As the champion, I don't have to chase after you to beat you. I have something that you want. You have to chase after me. You have to do more than enough to get what I have. At least that's how I view it. So he won his title defenses. I believe it was 7 title defenses, and ran into Alex again and got knocked out. And now, we were faced with this matchup, and it was so interesting seeing how, everybody knows Izzy is really big on, press conferences, media. We didn't hear too much from him. He was adamant about having short answers because the fight is going to be short. He's not going in too much detail, and the fight did not last that long. It's so crazy. So now what happens next? Obviously, people want to see a third fight. It's in MMA, it's 1-1. I don't want to hear anything else about a previous sport. I don't. I don't want to hear anything else about a previous sport. And let me not touch up on Adesanya too much. It is his moment, but Alex fought a really good fight. I'd say the first round went to Izzy, but not by 10-8 or anything like that. Alex really was fighting a good fight, and I could see it go into... If that fight continued, I could have seen it going how the first MMA fight went. He was pressing forward, and we all understand his, as Joe Rogan says, preposterous power. So when he lands, it takes it echoes in the room, like the room goes silent because they think that somebody's gonna drop. And he understands that power, and he's an elite kickboxer in his own right. He's an elite striker, so managing distance and leveling his power, setting up his power punches. He fought a really good fight. He just got bested that night. But I'm really excited to see this third fight that they're probably going to set up. As far as the final sequence, man, I was getting flashbacks from the first MMA fight, man. Alex pressing forward, Izzy backing up, because we saw several times in the first round, Alex would press forward, and Izzy did not want to get against that cage. Once he felt his back against the cage, he was going to L-step and get out of there. He was going to find a crease somewhere and get out of there so he could have room, because that's where the last knockout happened. He got backed up against the cage, nowhere to really go, especially if his legs are hurting, got out of there. So this fight, Alex starts pressing forward, goes with the knee, starts throwing a barrage of punches, and I forget who it was that made this observation, but now that I watch it, it makes total sense. Of course, Alex is just a powerful person naturally, but his stance lends to a lot of that power. He throws from the hip. He really puts his torque, turns his hips into it, bended the knees. He throws from the hip really heavy. So if he hits you, you're going to get hurt. But that leaves the overhand right open. He caught him clean with it twice. Izzy caught him clean with the overhand right twice. That's what got him down. So as he's throwing from the hip, Izzy's just waiting for an opening. Like he said, he was playing possum, which that takes a massive amount of courage to be able to say, I got knocked out in a similar position here, but I'm going to play possum and give him this opportunity where he feels he has an advantage, and I have to trust my striking skills to get me out of this situation. Crazy. Knocks him out, and I love the celebrations. I think he did a little much. The arrows were cool. The LeBron silencer was cool, and the thing he did with his son was pretty cool. The thing he did with Alexa's son was pretty cool. I think all three of them were unnecessary, if that makes sense. Like, you could pick maybe 2, but don't do all 3. But it is what it is, bro. He's the man. Let him do it. He just won his championship back. Let him do it, you know? But looking forward in the future, I don't see how they don't run it back. The UFC loves grudge matches, loves rivalries that go 1-1. We just saw Davison Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno running back for a 4th time. So I don't see how they don't run this back. But at the same time, everybody's been talking about Alex moving up, which is a real possibility. Because of how huge he is for this division, he would be a comfortable light heavyweight, and that power would still translate to light heavyweight, and he could still get people out of there with that power. It's not just because he's fighting smaller guys. No, he has legitimate knockout power that would translate all the way up to the heavyweight division if he really wanted to. So light heavyweight wouldn't be a problem for him if that's where he felt like he wanted to go. But I don't see them not running this back. The story is too big. The story is way too big. There's too much fan investment for them not to pursue a 3rd fight here. And whoever loses that 3rd fight is in a interesting situation. Let's say Izzy loses that fight. He's not going to be back in the title picture for a while. Could we see him retire and he's just sustained his status as one of the best middleweights of all time, one of the best mixed martial artists of all time, and that's just, where it is? Who knows? If Alex loses, I think he's a bit more comfortable in the sense of he can move up to light heavy, be a real contender there. What is Dana thinking about Khamzat? Does he want Khamzat to win another fight? And if he wins another fight, he ran through the guy. If we're positive that you can make weight, give Izzy a run. There's so many variables that go into what happens next for the division. But, man, Izzy got it done. I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say about it in the comments. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good, mushy YouTuber stuff. I'm out of here. Love y'all.